Have you ever wondered why scientists run experiments, test prototypes, or demand evidence before making claims? Today it feels natural. But in the Renaissance, most truths came from ancient books and authority, not actual observation or testing. Europe was still tied to Aristotle's logic in medieval scholasticism, where scholars debated texts rather than examined nature. Knowledge was preserved, not advanced. Authority carried more weight than evidence, which often meant errors persisted for centuries without being challenged. Francis Bacon, born in 1561, believed this approach was a dead end. He argued that knowledge should not be received passively from tradition, but actively built through methodical observation, careful testing, and repeated experiment. Always open to correction. Bacon introduced what we now recognize as the scientific method. Instead of starting with theories and forcing facts to fit, he urged beginning with observations, drawing patterns from them. It's only then forming theories to be tested by experiment. He also warned about traps that distort human reasoning, so he called the idols of the mind. These idols, biases of culture, language, or personal habit, blind us to reality. Recognizing them was essential to finding truth. This vision was revolutionary. Bacon wanted to replace speculation with experiment, authority with evidence, and tradition with discovery. He stood as a bridge between the Renaissance reverence for the past and the modern commitment to progress through science. His ideas were not abstract philosophy alone. They reshaped how people approached knowledge itself. To see Bacon's influence clearly, let's look at examples across medicine, astronomy, technology, psychology, and even our everyday lives. For centuries, medicine was built on Galen's ancient theory of four bodily humors: blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile. Disease was seen as imbalance, leading to treatments like bleeding, purging, or leeches, often harmful rather than healing. Because physicians trusted authority over evidence, little progress was made for generations. A patient's recovery or death was explained away using Galen's theory, never tested against reality. Medicine was ritualistic, and errors were repeated endlessly without correction. Bacon's call for observation and experiment broke this pattern. Physicians gradually began measuring symptoms, testing remedies, and recording outcomes. Medical practice slowly shifted from repeating tradition to actually learning from results. This practice improved treatments through evidence rather than guesswork. This empirical spirit paved the way for breakthroughs centuries later: vaccines, antiseptics, antibiotics, and clinical trials. Today, every medicine on a pharmacy shelf owes something to Bacon's insistence that healing must be tested, not assumed. Astronomy, too, was long dominated by authority. For over 1,000 years, scholars trusted Ptolemy's geocentric model of the universe, where Earth stood at the center. It was repeated because Aristotle said so, not because anyone truly tested it. But in Bacon's spirit, Galileo and others began to rely on observation rather than texts. Turning telescopes to the night sky, they saw moons orbiting Jupiter and Venus, showing phases that contradicted Ptolemy's Earth-centered system. The evidence was undeniable. Tradition collapsed under the weight of repeated observation. Authority gave way to data, and the heliocentric model, once dismissed, became accepted. Bacon's method had shown its power. Truth comes from what nature reveals, not what books say. Today we send telescopes into orbit and probes across the solar system. This vast expansion of astronomy is a direct legacy of moving from speculation to experiment, exactly what Bacon had called for 400 years ago. Bacon was not content with abstract discovery alone. He believed science should serve human needs, producing tools and technologies to ease life's burdens. Knowledge, he wrote, should be for the relief of man's estate, not just for debate. This idea inspired a practical spirit of invention. Instead of only studying nature for philosophy, people began experimenting with it to create machines. Observation, testing, and refinement became the seeds of technological revolutions in engineering and mechanics. The Industrial Revolution, with steam engines, electricity, and chemical industries, grew from this Baconian mindset. Experiment produced results. Results produced inventions. And inventions reshaped daily life in ways no mere speculation ever could. Every light bulb, airplane, and microchip we use today exists because of that conviction. Knowledge must be tested, applied, and improved through experiment. Bacon's vision made technology a driver of history. One of Bacon's most striking contributions was his warning about mental errors. He called them the idols of the mind. False notions that mislead us, not because nature deceives, but because our minds distort what we perceive. The idol of the tribe, for example, comes from human nature itself, our tendency to see patterns where none exist. The idol of the cave reflects personal bias, shaped by upbringing or habit. Today, psychology uses another term called cognitive biases, confirmation bias, groupthink, framing effects. And countless others showed that Bacon was centuries ahead of his time in understanding how thought can go wrong. In the age of social media echo chambers and misinformation, Bacon's insight feels prophetic. He warned us to be wary of illusions in thought. Modern society is still wrestling with the idols he described 400 years ago. Bacon's method is not only for great discoveries, it shapes our everyday world. Engineers who develop smartphones don't trust a single theory. They prototype, test, and refine until a design works under real conditions. When drug companies develop a vaccine, they run double-blind trials. When software companies release new apps, they conduct beta testing. All of these are expressions of Bacon's principle. Evidence must prove usefulness before truth is accepted. Even safety inspections, from airplanes to elevators, reflect Bacon's method in action. We do not simply assume systems are safe. We test and retest them repeatedly to ensure their reliability. In this way, experimentation becomes the ultimate guarantee of trust in modern life. From medicine to technology, every corner of daily life carries Bacon's enduring legacy. We live in a modern world built firmly on evidence, because he insisted that knowledge must serve reality. It's not untested tradition or blind authority. Francis Bacon bridged the Renaissance and the modern world. He replaced authority with evidence and speculation with experiment. His vision transformed knowledge from something inherited into something discovered. By urging us to observe, test, and correct, he laid the foundation of the scientific method. This became the engine of progress, driving centuries of discovery, innovation, and improvement in human life. In today's world of rapid technology, artificial intelligence, and misinformation, his lesson is still urgent. Truth is not guaranteed by tradition or authority. It must be proven, tested, and verified against experience. Without Francis Bacon's bridge from speculation to experiment, modern science and modern society would look unrecognizable. His legacy is not only in history books, but in every test, every trial, and every discovery we still pursue. If you enjoyed exploring Francis Bacon's legacy and how it shapes our modern world, please hit like and subscribe. It helps us bring more timeless ideas from history's greatest thinkers to today's challenges.